Let's try it. Yang Chen confirmed that his body was full of Sun True Qi. Carefully driving a strand of Sky Thunder True Qi, he guided it out of his dantian and slowly moved it to his left wrist joint. He then wrapped the joint and started driving the Sky Thunder True Qi to penetrate it. Suddenly, Yang Chen felt a strange sensation. His left hand, starting from the wrist, all the way to his fingertips, had completely lost all feeling. There was no pain as he expected. Yang Chen was confused, but just as the Sky Thunder True Qi gradually merged into the wrist joint, an indescribable, excruciating pain attacked him. Yang Chen screamed, his vision turning black as he almost fainted from the pain. He desperately held on, forcefully controlling the Sun True Qi that protected his body, and managed to stabilize himself. After a short while, the pain at his wrist joint subsided. But when Yang Chen looked at his left arm, he was dumbfounded. His left arm was completely numb, and it had turned a strange pale color. Just a slight movement of his left hand caused an unbearable sharp pain to surge through his arm. This is troublesome. Although he knew that opening a war acupoint would be difficult, Yang Chen hadn't expected that just trying it once would cause such an outcome. Could it be that the left wrist war acupoint couldn't be opened? If he couldn't move his hand anymore, Yang Chen, feeling a bit regretful, tried to think of a solution but couldn't find one. He could only bite the bullet and continue driving a small strand of Sky Thunder True Qi towards the left wrist joint, continuing the process. Screw it. If it doesn't work, he'll become a disabled hero. With continuous attempts, Yang Chen gradually lost the sensation of pain in his left wrist. It seemed as if his entire left hand had disappeared, not belonging to him anymore. An hour later, a new problem arose. The Sun True Qi and the Sky Thunder True Qi in his dantian were almost depleted. Yang Chen had no choice but to stop refining the left wrist war acupoint and focus on recovering his True Qi. An entire day passed. Shifan, who was blocked outside the training room, was dumbfounded. His cultivation had reached the peak of the 6th level of the true martial realm. Training his body techniques for a whole day in the 1,000 Army Tower was already his limit. His True Qi had almost dried up, and he had to leave. But what about the kid inside? How was he able to stay inside the training room for a whole day? That kid was only in the 4th level of the true martial realm. The gravity inside was much more terrifying, stronger than outside. Was that kid dead? No, if he was dead, the training room door would have automatically opened. Ignoring his anger, Shifan left the 1,000 Army Tower. However, Shifan did not actually leave. He sat down outside the 1,000 Army Tower's door and began to cultivate. While recovering his True Qi, he was also determined to see when Yang Chen would finally come out. An entire night had passed. After daybreak, Shifan was completely stunned. He was almost certain that Yang Chen was dead inside the 1st level's training room. The moment his True Qi was restored to its peak, Shifan once again entered the 1,000 Army Tower and arrived at the strange training room door. He punched the door a few times, but after muffled thuds, it still didn't open. Damn it, why won't the door of the training room open? Is he really dead inside? The commotion here had attracted the attention of many other disciples, and even some instructors had come to inquire. After repeated attempts, when they still couldn't open the training room door, one of the instructors determined that there was still a living person inside. But Yang Chen had been inside for a day and a night. How was he still alive? Who would believe this? A cultivator in the 4th level of the true martial realm, staying inside the 1st level of the 1,000 Army Tower for hours. After investigating the incident, the instructor responsible came to a single conclusion. It was that Yang Chen's cultivation was definitely more than the 4th level of the true martial realm. He must have cultivated some kind of secret technique that hid his true cultivation. Indeed, such techniques were rare, but they did exist. The new question was, what was Yang Chen's real cultivation level? Based on the instructor's experience, one had to be at least in the 7th level of the true martial realm to be able to stay in the 1st level of the 1,000 Army Tower for more than hours. No wonder that kid was so arrogant. It turned out he was hiding his cultivation level. Shifan, who wasn't so angry anymore, thought, since you're in the 7th level of the true martial realm, you should be going to the 2nd level. Why are you still competing with us in the 1st level? Don't you understand the rules? Yang Chen never imagined that he would be so misunderstood. At this moment, Yang Chen, who was still sitting inside the training room, was wearing a silly smile, like a real idiot. On the stone floor where he was sitting, there were many scattered crumbs of some snacks. He. It's no wonder Yang Chen was so happy. Anyone who encountered such a situation would be silly. His left wrist was now emitting a warm, white glow. The skin on that wrist was as smooth and flawless as jade. He didn't have any true qi fluctuation on his body. He was relying on his pure physical strength to resist the gravity inside, and he was still fine. Yang Chen had never dreamed that he would succeed in condensing his first war acupoint in just one night. The ancient demonic dragon battle body had already taken its first steps and was extremely powerful. The left wrist war acupoint was constantly absorbing the various types of energy around his body while emitting a warm power that flowed throughout his body. This was the state without actively stimulating the war acupoint. Once activated, his entire left palm would shine like jade, comparable to a high-grade yellow artifact. He could shatter rocks with a single palm strike. Strong, unbelievably strong. The left wrist war acupoint made it possible, in a sense, for him to remain in the first level of the 1,000 Army Tower indefinitely. The protests coming from his stomach once again woke Yang Chen. Putting away his thoughts, Yang Chen stretched, lazily getting up with ease. Almost at the same time, the door of the training room was about to open. With a loud thud, the training room door opened. Instantly, everyone's eyes, including Shifeng, were focused on Yang Chen. Recognizing Shifeng, Yang Chen casually asked, "Oh yeah, before I went in, I heard you muttering something. Was it hard for you? Do you have any problem with me?" "No, no objections." The released power of the continuous punches clearly showed that there was no true energy fluctuation from Yang Chen. It was too unbelievable. It's a joke, just relying on pure physical strength. He could contend with the first level of the 1,000 Army Tower. He is definitely a super strong body cultivator. Did I hear wrong? Yang Chen is so strong. You must have heard wrong. It was just pure physical strength. Then, Yang Chen walked towards the exit very relaxed, mumbling, "Did I hear wrong? That can't be right." Watching Yang Chen's figure disappear, Gulong swallowed his saliva. His face immediately turned gloomy. He muttered, "Damn it, I hate people who play the fool like this." Luckily, I didn't go up. After having a big meal at the cafeteria, Yang Chen came to the 1,000 Army Tower again without stopping. The time between the two was less than half an hour. Seeing Yang Chen enter the first level, many core disciples waiting in line were annoyed. This guy is addicted to snatching the time slots. Please, you are at the 7th level of true martial realm, can't you go to the 2nd level? Okay. Hearing the disciples' voices, Yang Chen didn't stay in the first level, and went to the 2nd level entrance, placing his hand on the spirit pattern on the gate, and injecting true energy. Rumble. The gate opened, and Yang Chen entered the 2nd level. As soon as he entered the 2nd level, Yang Chen stumbled and fell to the ground. His face turned red, and he immediately activated the solar true energy in his dantian, circulating it throughout his body. Damn it! Although he used the solar true energy to protect his body, Yang Chen found it was still very uncomfortable. Even getting up was a bit difficult. Why has the gravity on the 2nd level increased so much? Yang Chen muttered, massaging his legs. The 2nd level of the 1,000 Army Tower was empty, but many training rooms were closed. Just as Yang Chen was hesitating whether to return to the first level, the door leading to the 3rd level opened. Huo Ting, who came out of the doorway, saw Yang Chen was stunned. He rubbed his eyes to make sure he wasn't seeing things. Yang Chen was actually on the 2nd level. What a coincidence. Yang Chen also recognized him. Huo Ting was one of the 2 examiners who were responsible for him entering the core area a few days ago. You shouldn't be here. No, that's not what I meant. I mean, it's impossible for you to be here. Today, Huo Ting's words were a bit incoherent. He clearly remembered that Yang Chen was only at the 4th level of true martial realm. Why was he in the 2nd level of the 1,000 Army Tower? You, a 4th level of true martial realm, can come to the 2nd level. Huo Ting was even more confused, staring at Yang Chen incredulously. Teacher, am I not allowed to come to the 2nd level? Yang Chen asked with curiosity. He really didn't know the rules of the 1,000 Army Tower. No, that's not what I meant. Huo Ting waved his hand, as if remembering something. Now that I think of it, during the assessment, you seem to have said that you never trained in body cultivation, right? Yang Chen was also a bit embarrassed and truthfully said, Teacher, I only started training in body cultivation yesterday. Hearing the truth, Huo Ting was stunned again, and froze in place. After a while, Huo Ting came back to his senses and was about to ask again, but then he found Yang Chen was gone. Just now, Yang Chen couldn't hold on any longer, so he had to return to the first level. Luckily, a training room at the first level had just become vacant. Taking advantage of everyone's stunned moment, Yang Chen quickly rushed in. As Yang Chen closed the training room door, Huo Ting also arrived at the first level. Looking around, he didn't see Yang Chen, and asked quickly, did anyone see Yang Chen? A disciple with a dark face, whose training room had been taken over by Yang Chen, said dissatisfied, Teacher, that Yang Chen is too. How could he come to the first level to snatch our training rooms? Indeed, Huo Ting nodded, it shouldn't be like this. Wait until he comes out, tell him I'm looking for him. Training inside, Yang Chen felt much more relaxed. Even without activating his true energy to protect his body, he could withstand the weight inside the room. To be more comfortable in the 2nd level, it seems I need to open up a 2nd battle vein. Full of motivation, Yang Chen calmed his mind, intending to open up the 2nd battle vein, after using the solar true energy. Based on his experience of opening the left arm battle vein, the difficulty should not be too high. Then, Yangchen controlled a strand of solar true energy from his dantian, and directed it towards the acupoint of his right arm. He controlled the strand of solar true energy, forcefully drilling into the meridians at the joints. Yang Chen, his face contorted, let out a yell. Pain. It's too painful. Opening the left arm battle vein yesterday was much less painful. What's going on? As time passed in painful endurance, Yang Chen began to feel that something was wrong. It's been more than half an hour, but the first strand of solar true energy has still not fully merged with the meridians at the joint of his right arm. His entire right arm was cooked red, a terrible sight. That's not right. The solar true energy finally made its way to the right arm joint. Something's off. Yang Chen stopped, feeling nervous. At this rate, not to mention a day and a night, even 10 days and 10 nights, he would probably not be able to open the right arm battle vein. What was the reason? Did the difficulty of opening the second battle vein increase so much? If the difficulty keeps increasing like this, then opening the TH battle vein will take decades, or even hundreds of years. After a moment of thinking, Yang Chen suddenly realized something. Could it be because of the true energy? Then, Yang Chen decided to try it out. He activated a strand of thunder true energy in his dantian, and guided it to the right arm joint. After all, he successfully opened his left arm battle vein yesterday using thunder true energy. Yang Chen was shocked. He realized he couldn't feel any pain, and he clearly saw that the thunder true energy was quickly merging with the meridians at the right arm joint. Yang Chen laughed. He did not expect thunder true energy to be so amazing. In the aspect of opening up battle veins, solar true energy was completely inferior. Another day and night passed. Yang Chen spent almost the same amount of time, and successfully opened his second battle vein, the right arm battle vein. The two battle veins corresponded to each other, as if forming a phantom armor around Yang Chen's body. While his physical strength increased significantly, his body was also constantly absorbing external energy, refining it and transforming it into a pure energy that flowed throughout his body. This was as if there was a small dantian inside his body. It was incredible. Okay. Yang Chen, who was planning to go out, stood up and suddenly punched out. A sonic boom echoed out. This pure power was amazing. Opening the stone door and leaving the training room, Yang Chen found that the few guys who were preparing to forcefully take the training room, one was staring at him with a look of surprise. Before Yang Chen could ask, the disciple guarding the training room, with a flash, blocked the door, and said to Yang Chen, Instructor Huating is looking for you. It seems like there is something. As soon as he finished speaking, the disciple entered the room, and closed the door. Instructor Huating. Who is that? Yang Chen was confused. He had just entered the core area, except for Old Xiu. He had no interactions with other instructors. But if the instructor was looking for him, then there must be something. So, Yang Chen, with an empty stomach, asked many disciples before finally finding a large hall. This was the place for Instructor Huating's lectures. Any core disciple favored by him could enter this hall to receive his guidance. Yang Chen entered the hall and found that there were many training rooms inside, and Instructor Huating was personally demonstrating a type of martial arts weapon in a large training room. That's Instructor Huating. Seeing the fierce-looking middle-aged instructor, Yang Chen immediately recognized him. The other party was one of the two assessment instructors who helped him enter the core area. He also briefly met at the second level of the 1000 Army Tower yesterday. Seeing Yang Chen at the door of the training hall, Huating asked a few disciples to train by themselves, and walked over, looking at Yang Chen with a surprised look. After looking at him for a moment, Huating became even more shocked. He clearly noticed that since yesterday, Yang Chen's physical strength had increased significantly. This kid probably has a rare physique. Huating glanced at the inner ring on Yang Chen's left ring finger, and had some guesses. Yang Chen, are you willing to join our lineage to cultivate, and become my personal disciple? Huating asked abruptly. He wanted to take Yang Chen in before other instructors realized how good he was. He knew that Yang Chen was definitely a very rare genius. Teacher wants to accept a personal disciple. As soon as Huating finished speaking, the few core disciples in the training hall were shocked. Although they were all training under Huating, they were just ordinary disciples, and could only call Huating teacher. A personal disciple was different. Each instructor could only accept one. It was a lineage inheritance, with careful and focused training. The future was different. They were destined to be respected. Seeing the eager look in Huating's eyes, Yang Chen was deeply grateful, and almost didn't resist bowing. This was an instructor in the core area of the North Academy. Their status was 100 times stronger than any other instructors in the Qiankuan kingdom. If he became Huating's personal disciple, the benefits would be numerous. But without any hesitation, Yang Chen bowed slightly to Huating and replied, Thank you for the offer, but I already have a master. Ha ha. Huating laughed and said nonchalantly, It doesn't matter. I don't mind. You just entered the inner court, so you might not know, but the core disciples of our Wu mansion can simultaneously become personal disciples of multiple instructors. Is that so? Yang Chen was surprised. Although he was tempted, Yang Chen had a troubled expression. My master is a bit narrow-minded. He's not just my master, he's also my future father-in-law. If I anger him, my beautiful wife might not want me. Who is your master? Huo Ting was very curious. Xiao Buguang, Yang Chen replied truthfully. Xiao Buguang. Huo Ting's face changed. He seemed to have remembered something, and stopped trying to take Yang Chen as his disciple, and said, Oh, you are his disciple, no wonder. Leaving the hall, Yang Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Although Huo Ting wanted him as his personal disciple, his reasons were genuine, but he had to explain things. There were some parts of his destiny that he would not reveal to outsiders. And deep down, Yang Chen felt that Huo Ting's offer might have had other hidden purposes. Of course, Chen Banguang also played a part. Although Chen Banguang was quite wasteful, he treated Yang Chen so well, even a biological son wouldn't receive such treatment. Without Qian Bang's approval, Yang Chen would never become someone else's disciple. In just a few days, Yang Chen caused quite a stir in the core area of the North Courtyard. Someone had personally witnessed Yang Chen staying in the second level of the 1,000 Army Tower for a full hours. This was quite shocking. There weren't many high-level true martial realm disciples in the core area of the North Courtyard, and even fewer could practice in the second level of the 1,000 Army Tower for over hours. Yang Chen was also shocked when he heard these rumors and realized he needed to lay low for a while. Ordinary people didn't know his background, but Old Shou knew him too well. He didn't want to be caught by Old Shou and dissected. In fact, after opening the 2 battle meridians, Yang Chen could completely stay in the second level of the 1,000 Army Tower for much longer. For several days in a row, Yang Chen refrained from rushing to open the 3rd battle meridian, the Guardian Meridian. Instead, he focused on improving his cultivation with all his strength. Because he wanted to open his left-hand battle meridian in one go, he estimated that he would have to stay in the second level of the 1,000 Army Tower for at least 3 days and 3 nights. This was over 6 times the previous duration. He didn't want to cause a huge commotion in the North Courtyard, so he needed to do it quietly. That day, Yang Chen, who had just advanced to the true martial realm, was very excited and decided to give himself a day off. Actually, he missed Little Hay a bit. Of course, he was also concerned about Little Hay, wondering if Chiu Linger was really feeding Little Hay snacks every day. As Yang Chen arrived at the depths of the core area of the North Courtyard, he was about to. Suddenly, Yang Chen noticed that there were many strangers gathered in the main hall of the herb garden. It seemed like Old Shou was giving a lecture. Before Yang Chen could turn around and leave, Chiu Linger had already spotted him and called him over. As Chiu Linger walked into the main hall, Yang Chen whispered, "Who are they? It's not appropriate for me to be here, is it? You're trying to see your senior brother, how is it not appropriate?" Chiu Linger acted as if they were very close. She explained, "They're the bigwigs from the east and south courtyards. They heard that my father has taken in a little treasure as a disciple, so they came to congratulate him." At this point, Chiu Linger's voice suddenly lowered. "Actually, this is probably just an excuse. They probably have other matters." Hearing that there were powerful figures in the main hall, Yang Chen couldn't help but think of the Li Hao, who he had beaten badly. "Yang Chen," Old Shou said, looking at Yang Chen. "Come meet Vice Dean Fulin Shan of the South Courtyard and Vice Dean Guan Yu of the East Courtyard." Helpless, Yang Chen had no choice but to step forward. After some polite greetings, Yang Chen, who was standing behind Old Shou, suddenly noticed that Jianwu's aura had become stronger. His cultivation had clearly improved again, which put a lot of pressure on him. Yang Chen also noticed that the few young people standing behind Vice Dean Fulin Shan and Guan Yu were looking at him strangely, as if Yang Chen owed them a lot of money. Yang Chen, who is usually very perceptive, was a bit confused. The people behind Vice Dean Fulin Shan were from the South Courtyard, so it was understandable that they had some issues with him since he had stirred up trouble in the South Courtyard several times. But Guan Yu was the Vice Dean of the East Courtyard, and the people behind him were also staring at him. What did that mean? "You guys can go for a walk outside. I have something to discuss with the 2 Vice Deans." Old Shou waved his hand, dismissing the group. Following that, Yang Chen, Jianwu, Chiu Linger, and a few others from the East and South Courtyards left the main hall. "Little K, Linger, I think I need to give you guys a wedding gift soon." Looking at Jianwu and Chiu Linger, who looked confused, Yang Chen chuckled and said. Jianwu, who was always calm and serious, although not understanding what Yang Chen meant, knew that there was a trap, so he pretended not to hear and remained silent. Chiu Linger, pretending to be confused, asked Yang Chen innocently, "Why would you give us gifts for no reason?" Hee. Yang Chen smiled, looking at Jianwu with a teasing expression, then squinted at Chiu Linger. "I'm being serious, with how good-looking you guys are, my grandma is about to arrange a wedding for you. As an older brother, I have to prepare in advance, I need to give you a wedding gift." Hearing this, Chiu Linger finally understood, her face turning red. Fortunately, a beautiful woman came, relieving Chiu Linger's embarrassment. The beautiful woman, with a very curious gaze, stared at Yang Chen without hesitation. "So you're Yang Chen. I now understand why Lingxi is infatuated with you. Yang Chen was shocked. So this beautiful woman knew Hu Lingxi. That's right. She was a core disciple of the East Courtyard, so she should know Lingxi. Beautiful elder sister, may I ask your name? Not knowing the relationship between the other party and Lingxi, Yang Chen was very cautious. The beautiful woman laughed, staring at Yang Chen up and down without restraint, and didn't say a word. This was also a cunning one. Looking at the other party's beautiful figure, Yang Chen secretly swallowed and felt a bit pressured. Yang Chen, I think you and Lingxi aren't very compatible. You and this lady are a perfect match. What do you think? The beautiful woman's words were so direct. Yang Chen hadn't expected this beautiful woman to be so bold. Or rather, it couldn't even be called bold anymore. Beautiful elder sister, you're joking. Yang Chen was careful, because he knew he might be falling into a trap. Just then, a handsome young man in a purple robe approached and asked, Xiaoshang, does this kid also know Lingxi? Yang Chen then knew that the beautiful and enchanting woman in front of him was called Xiaoshang. If she had the same last name as him, that would be great. Xiaoshang wasn't very happy with the young man's interruption, but since Yang Chen was present, she couldn't lash out. She patiently said, Yang Chen is Lingxi's father's disciple, do you think they know each other? The surprised young man then looked at Yang Chen properly. With a pretentious tone, he said, I remember now, Lingxi did mention him a few times when she was chatting with me. I had forgotten. He. Xiao Shang's expression changed, but she still restrained herself from exposing him on the spot. What was Li Yijuan trying to do? For her to be able to chat with Lingxi, that small trick was too low level. Xiao Shang also knew that Li Yijuan was pursuing Lingxi, but his underhanded tricks made her despise him. Xiao Shang, who originally wanted to get close to Yang Chen, restrained herself. In her heart, she even hoped that Yang Chen and Qian Lingxi would have a falling out, because Xiao Shang was enchanted by Yang Chen's looks and his unique temperament. Yang Chen was also aware of the situation. He knew that this young man clearly had ill intentions, trying to sow discord between him and Hu Lingxi. Unfortunately, Li Yijuan was overthinking it. The relationship between Yang Chen and Qian Lingxi was not something he could mess with. Not long after, the two vice-deans of the East and South courtyards, seeming to have gotten what they wanted, left the herb garden, each leading their disciples. Before leaving, Xiao Shang sent Yang Chen an invitation, suggesting that he could visit the East courtyard when he had time. Yang Chen naturally agreed, because he could take this opportunity to see Hu Lingxi again. He used an excuse to send Jianwuk and Xiu linger away, and Xiuzhen brought Yang Chen back into the herb garden. Old Xiu, sitting at the main seat, looked at Yang Chen and asked, Boy, do you know why I called you here? Yang Chen, who was feeling nervous, really didn't know, so he shook his head. I heard you started cultivating in the second level of the 1,000 Army Tower. Judging by your body, you should have cultivated some powerful body refinement technique. Yang Chen didn't expect old Xiu to be so perceptive. He could actually tell that he had cultivated a body refinement technique, and it was clear that old Xiu had been secretly watching him. It's only been a short while, Yang Chen thought, deciding to say as little as possible in front of this old man. Your body is a bit special. You are only at the true martial realm, and yet you can go to the second level of the 1,000 Army Tower. Not bad, old Xiu said casually. Okay, Yang Chen nodded, agreeing with old Xiu. Yang Chen, who had many questions about the 1,000 Army Tower, wanted to ask them, but he restrained himself. He needed to understand what old Xiu wanted from him. He had sent away little K and Linger, which was clearly to discuss important matters. Do you feel that your own strength is strong? That the so-called geniuses are nothing more than that? That you can suppress everyone of your generation with your strength? Old Xiu's words seemed to touch Yang Chen's deepest thoughts. Yang Chen secretly thought that it was true. Among his peers, he could hardly find anyone who could compete with him. He then nodded confidently. Old Xiu laughed at Yang Chen. You're very similar to Qian Banguang, so arrogant. If it wasn't for old Xiu's status, Yang Chen would have definitely retorted. Do you know why those arrogant geniuses, throughout history, haven't grown up and have all died? Yang Chen rolled his eyes. Of course he didn't know, so he remained silent. Seeing that Yang Chen wasn't listening, old Xiu couldn't help but smile. He continued, deep in the Tiannan secret realm, there's a hidden valley. Every time the Wolf King dies, the remaining wolf heads will fight each other to the death to compete for the position of Wolf King. Do you know why the one who ultimately becomes the Wolf King is not always the strongest wolf head? Hearing this, Yang Chen was really surprised. He knew that what old Xiu was going to say was definitely a big deal, but what big deal that was related to him? Seeing Yang Chen deep in thought, old Xiu sighed, his expression somewhat melancholy. Back then, I was also sitting in this position. Not only did I sit in your current position, but he was also the one who presided over it. I told him about the hidden Wolf Valley. But unfortunately, he didn't understand, and that's how he ended up in his current state. Yang Chen asked worriedly, Master, what exactly happened to my senior master? Old Xiu sighed, as if recalling the events of that year. A hint of resentment flashed in his eyes. He said in a frustrated tone, your master was 100 times more arrogant than you, and he was also 100 times more capable. Do you know that your master even holds a record in our Tiannan Martial Institute? What record? Yang Chen asked, a bit curious. He was truly outstanding, the youngest heavenly Taoist in the history of our Tiannan Martial Institute, and also a genius with unparalleled combat power. How about it, is he awesome? Yang Chen was shocked. He hadn't expected his cheap master to be so glorious back then. He relied on his wealth and handsome face to stir up trouble in the Wu estate. If it were just an ordinary woman, it would be fine. He shouldn't have provoked Duanmu Manghua, even forcing himself on her. Being able to keep his life was already a great blessing. A heavenly Taoist is a natural match, why can't he marry his master's wife? Besides, they both have feelings for each other. Is the Duanmu family so high and mighty? Unable to hold back, Yang Chen retorted. Silly boy, some people's fates are predetermined. Do you know why the Duanmu family insists on marrying the Shadow Kill sect leader? The Shadow Kill sect leader liking Duanmu Manghua is only a small part of the reason. The real reason is that the Duanmu family is not content to stay in Tiannan City. They want to align themselves with the 13th prince through the Shadow Kill sect leader. Hearing this, Yang Chen understood somewhat. Although he didn't know who the so-called 13th prince was, he must be a descendant of the royal family. He. Old Xiu chuckled sinisterly, then stared at Yang Chen. And now, the Duanmu family has reached an agreement with the 13th prince, using the 1000 Snowjade to secure the 13th prince's support and form another alliance. What? Yang Chen's face changed drastically, he stood up abruptly. He completely understood. Old Xiu had gone to great lengths just to tell him this. Lin Shi can't marry the 13th prince. She is my woman. Yang Chen's aura suddenly changed, his tone was firm and decisive. As if expecting this reaction, Old Xiu calmly waved his hand, signaling Yang Chen to continue sitting down and listening. How could I be in the mood to sit down? You also want to force the issue like Chen Biaoguang. Old Xiu's eyes narrowed as he stared at Yang Chen. Yang Chen took a deep breath and calmed himself, sitting down to continue listening. 10th Grand Uncle, what kind of person is the 13th prince? Yang Chen felt he still needed to understand his competitor. Old Xiu laughed. He is an unparalleled genius, regarded as the strongest heavenly Taoist in our Eastern Kingdom for the past millennium. He reached the heavenly fusion realm at the age of, and his talent is times greater than Li Shizuan. He is the most favored of the Eastern Kingdom's many princes. And his succession to the throne has been confirmed long ago. He's this year, 10 years older than you. Moreover, it is said that his cultivation has reached the pinnacle of the heavenly fusion realm, making him the second strongest person in our Eastern Kingdom. His combat power is unmatched, and he is known as the 13th tyrant. Damn! Yang Chen was dumbfounded. This opponent was not ordinary at all. This would have made anyone else faint, but Yang Chen, who had been tempered by his grandfather, only changed his expression slightly. Calming his mind, Yang Chen knew that he had no chance of winning against such a powerful opponent. 10th Grand Uncle, what should I do? Yang Chen had no choice but to ask Old Xiu for advice. Old Xiu was quite satisfied with Yang Chen's attitude. At least he was stronger than Chen Biaoguang. Kid, this matter hasn't been finalized yet, but it's almost a foregone conclusion. It is said that the 13th prince has replied, saying he will come to Tiannan to see Lin Shi in person. With Lin's eyes beauty, do you think the 13th prince would refuse? Yang Chen's face darkened. The so-called 13th tyrant was definitely a powerful existence that Yang Chen could not contend with. If anything goes wrong, I will be crushed. There are 3 paths. Old Xiu's voice suddenly became serious, as if he had already considered this. First, you and Lin Shi never see each other again, forget about her. Yang Chen shook his head firmly. This was something he could not do. Moreover, he and Lin Shi had pledged their love and made a vow that would never be broken. Knowing Yang Chen would not choose the first path, Old Xiu continued, second, endure the humiliation. When you have enough power, take Lin Shi back from the 13th prince. Yang Chen shook his head. He could not watch Lin Shi fall into the 13th tyrant's hands. Waiting for the future was not his style. Third, flee. Yang Chen's eyes lit up. This one wasn't bad. Old Xiu's face turned black. He slapped his forehead and said, Kid, choosing this path is extremely risky. One wrong move and both you and Lin Shi will die without a burial ground, and it will involve even me. Yang Chen's expression became serious. He knew that Old Xiu wasn't lying. If anything went wrong, his and Lin Zai's deaths would be a small matter, but he was afraid that it would implicate his cheap master, Old Xiu, and Jianwok, among others. Flee, which means running away. But the Eastern Kingdom is too big. In the vast Eastern Kingdom, under the control of the Eastern King, where could he run and hide? What's worse, Lin Zai's courtyard is obviously guarded by the Duanmu family's experts, which is actually surveillance. Moreover, Yang Chen couldn't flee alone with Lin Shi, he had to take Jian Wak and the burden of the powerless Xiao He. Oh, and he had to rescue his master, Duanmu Menghua, from the Duanmu family and take her with him. The difficulty was too high. After thinking for a moment, Yang Chen's scalp tingled, but no matter how difficult it was, he had to do it. 10th uncle, when will the Eastern King's 13th prince come to Tianan? Since he had made a decision, Yang Chen no longer cared about the Eastern royal family. Probably around the middle of next year. You have about a year, but we can't rule out unexpected situations. Old Xiao looked worried. He considered things more deeply than Yang Chen. In fact, Yang Chen didn't know that Old Xiao, who was usually so stubborn, was very pleased with his decision. Old Xiao deeply regretted what happened to Chen Biaoguang. In his heart, he had long hated the Duanmu family. The Eastern King was also involved. This time, he had to plan carefully. Everyone thought that Old Xiao was a reckless old man, but they did not know that he was the most cunning. Kid, what is the most urgent thing for you to do? Old Xiao wanted to test Yang Chen. Yang Chen knew that his 10th granduncle had decided to help him. This question was definitely a test. The most urgent thing right now, improving cultivation, is definitely not it. What is it? Low profile and don't cause trouble, that's not it either. Go find Hu Lijing, that's even less likely. The always calm Old Xiao was annoyed. You're so stupid. The first thing you need to do is to beg me. Without my support, you're just a dead man. Yang Chen was stunned. He never thought Old Xiao would be so cute. Then, Yang Chen quickly played along. 10th granduncle, please save me. Give me a little support, or you'll really be dead. Old Xiao laughed. Kid, what should you do now? Don't you know? Yang Chen bit his lip. First, go see your Lin Shi. Old Xiao suddenly said, a strange smile appearing on his face. You should go find Lin Shi. Staring at Old Xiao, Yang Chen was confused. Wasn't he going to flee? Why did he still have to see Lin Shi? Wouldn't that make the Duanmu family aware of their relationship? As if seeing through Yang Chen's thoughts, Old Xiao said impatiently, do you think you and Lin Zai's little secret can be hidden from the Duanmu family? In their eyes, you're just ants that can be killed at any time. They don't understand why you entered the Wu family. Seeing that Yang Chen was still confused, Old Xiao's face darkened. Kid, if you don't go see Lin Shi, they'll become suspicious, understand? Hearing this, Yang Chen completely understood. He was incredibly shocked as he stared at the scheming Old Xiao. This old guy was amazing. He was telling him to go see Lin Shi, use her to numb the other side, because in the eyes of the Duanmu family, the current Yang Chen was just a weak ant that could be crushed. But if Yang Chen did not act, the Duanmu family would become more vigilant. Behind him, after all, was Old Xiao, and the #1 expert in Tianan. Go see Lin Shi. The main thing is to see your master. He hasn't been in high spirits these past few years. You have to think of a way to give the old guy some hope. Yang Chen nodded heavily. If he could get his master's support, then this plan might have a chance. At the same time, in the depths of the eastern courtyard, outside Lin Zai's residence, Duanmu Kuei, standing outside Lin Zai's residence, looked at the beautiful Lin Shi with a dark expression, because Lin Zai's beautiful face was filled with longing and sweetness. Damn that brat, he really made Lin Shi fall so deeply for him. I hope you don't bite the hand that feeds you, or even Old Xiao can't save you. At that moment, a voice suddenly appeared beside Duanmu Kuei. It was a shadowy old man. Seeing Duanmu Kuei's dark expression, he sneered, I heard that the useless brat you chose is actually the descendant of Qian Biaoguang's daughter. She might harbor resentment against our family. Duanmu Kuei smiled bitterly, his 5 elements have already been ruined. Moreover, his talents are mediocre. The other disciples are all rubbish. I can't even imagine that the 13th will like that kind of person. You have to be careful. If another Chen Biaoguang emerges, your family will be doomed. The 13th is not inferior to the Shadow Kill sect leader. Don't think that the marriage will be as you want. Duanmu Kuei glared at the man. He hated people laughing at his family. After a while, Yang Chen returned to his residence and then went back to the core area of the northern courtyard to cultivate like a madman. The pressure from the 13th prince was too great. His opponent was too strong, not on the same level at all. In less than 10 days, Yang Chen had successfully opened his 3rd and 4th battle meridians, left and right hand meridians. His physical strength had greatly improved. He could even withstand the gravity of the 2nd level of the Thousand June Tower with his physical strength alone. But opening the 5th meridian, the space meridian, was difficult. After trying for a moment, he gave up because his heavenly thunder true chi was not strong enough. Perhaps he would have to wait until his true chi cultivation improved, reaching the high level of the true martial realm, that is, the 7th level of the true martial realm, to try to open the 5th meridian. After tidying himself up, Yang Chen left the northern courtyard, planning to go to the eastern courtyard to discuss matters with Ying Xing and the demoness Yu Xiaoshang. Actually, he was missing Qianlingxi. Moreover, according to old Xiu's calculations, he could openly go to Qianlingxi. There was no need to secretly monitor the powerful individuals of the Duanmu Manor. As Yang Chen approached a square not far from the east courtyard, he was stopped by a large crowd. The crowd grew larger and louder, with sounds of fighting coming from the center. Yang Chen, who had squeezed through, was very surprised. Although sparring could happen anywhere, it was rare to see so many people gathering to watch. This indicated that the two sides must be prominent figures in the academy. Arriving at the front, Yang Chen's eyes were immediately drawn. In the center stood a girl in a deep red battlesuit, her face filled with arrogance. Her gaze swept across the surrounding disciples with disdain. I always heard that Tiannan Academy had many talented individuals. I didn't expect them to be so weak, just empty boasts. Where did this brat come from? Acting so arrogant. Someone couldn't help but jump into the arena. The newcomer was Yu Ku, who had also reached the true martial realm. With a roar, Yu Ke's true energy surged, his aura rose over meters high. Simultaneously, a golden fighting spirit manifested behind his head. Boosted by the Vajra battle spirit, Yu Ke's Vajra palm displayed immense power. The incomparably powerful aura caused everyone present to feel a piercing pressure. Is that all? The girl in red scoffed and flicked her finger. A streak of scarlet light flew out. The red light struck Yu Ku in the chest, causing him to cry out in pain and fly backward. He coughed up blood, and his chest was scorched black. He was heavily injured. You are the weakest heavenly Taoist I've ever seen. The girl in the red suit said coldly. Yu Ku, having never suffered such humiliation, fainted. How arrogant. Where did this girl come from? So unreasonable. One after another, people went up to challenge her, but they were all weaker than the last. They couldn't even force her to reveal her battle spirit. Yang Chen, his face dark, was staring at the girl's left chest. To be precise, he was staring at a special symbol on the left chest of her red battlesuit. The design was exquisitely crafted, a unique emblem, a royal clan. Yang Chen recognized her identity. She must be a descendant of the Dongtu royal family. Due to what he had learned from books, Yang Chen had been familiarizing himself with the Dongtu royal clan symbol system, a royal clan who ascended to the Dongtu throne more than years ago. Most of their descendants possess a fire attribute 5 spirits. Due to their strong bloodline, most descendants of the Yifeng family awaken the Yifeng 5 spirits, becoming fire-heavily Taoists. Yang Chen was curious, why was a descendant of the royal clan present in Tiannan? At this moment, Luo Yun, who had reached the 6th level of the true martial realm, challenged her. But he was still defeated. Seeing Yang Chen on the sidelines, Luo Yun had an idea. He said to the girl in red, you might be able to compete with us elite disciples. But if you met those from the core area, you wouldn't last 3 moves. Like Yang Chen from the north courtyard, he wouldn't even bother to step in. Yang Chen. The girl in red exploded. Who is Yang Chen? Drag him out. Yang Chen, who already had a deep resentment toward the Yifeng clan, heard the girl's arrogant words. He was too lazy to waste time, instantly appearing in the arena. Are you looking for me? The girl in red glanced at Yang Chen, unsure of his question. Does it matter to you whether or not I'm looking for him? Yang Chen was determined to provoke her. It doesn't matter if you don't provoke me. But since you have, I have to teach you a lesson for your disrespect. You're courting death. The girl in red said furiously. You, who can barely survive, dare to speak so boldly. Do you think you are qualified to teach me? In a fit of rage, the girl's body flashed red, and her fiery true energy erupted. Her head condensed into a scarlet bird, and the moment her battle spirit manifested, it released a violent aura. With her 5 spirits amplified, the girl in red quickly conjured a massive fiery orb at her fingertips. It locked onto Yang Chen, and launched at him, as if intending to burn him to ashes. With a cold snort, Yang Chen knew this girl was intent on killing him. He didn't even bother to manifest his own 5 spirits. He simply activated the sun energy in his dantian and quickly wove hand seals. In the blink of an eye, Yang Chen's hands blurred, and several streaks of red light shot out. The 4 streaks of light pierced through the fire orb, causing it to explode with terrifying power, scattering flames everywhere. Another streak of light pierced through the girl's calf, causing her to scream. She sat on the ground in shock, her face pale. Extremely furious, the girl in red shouted, "Bastard! Someone, grab him!" Instantly, several figures broke through the air and landed near Yang Chen. These figures were all wearing dazzling armor, exuding an intimidating aura. Stop! Just as these powerful warriors were about to attack Yang Chen, a majestic voice descended from above. A man in a white robe with a calm face floated down from the sky. Just a single glance from the white-robed man sent a wave of danger through Yang Chen. It was as if his secrets were exposed, so terrifying, especially his eyes. At this moment, several figures flew from within the academy. Among them were Qiu Zhina and the head of the East Courtyard. They bowed to the white-robed man. "Greetings, Doctor." Afterwards, Qiu Zhina and the other leaders of the academy went up to greet him. Yang Chen was also shocked. He is the Dongtu Doctor, the legendary Destiny Heavenly Taoist. It's said that the Dongtu Kingdom is mysterious and the most favored by the king. With the powerful Dongtu status, he was second only to one person and above all others. The Destiny Heavenly Taoist was another reason why the Dongtu Kingdom was so respected. A Destiny Heavenly Taoist was a unique being. They could control the power of destiny, predict their own future, and make heaven-defying changes. Yang Chen silently muttered, he is worried that his destiny will be seen through. The girl in red, her leg injured, came to the Dongtu Doctor and glared at Yang Chen with resentment. "Doctor, I want this brat. I want him to be my servant." Yang Chen was curious as to who servant was. "Poof." The girl in red said coldly, "My servant is my pet, the noble Qi Yang flying dragon. It's your blessing to feed me." Seeing her arrogant attitude, Yang Chen couldn't help but feel annoyed and ignored her. He turned to the Dongtu Doctor and said respectfully, "Doctor, I have a question for you as a guest in Tiannan Academy." The Dongtu Doctor, his face a warm smile, said, "You may ask." "Well," Yang Chen said with a bow, "there is a saying that says, if you raise a child without teaching, you are being indulgent. If you teach without strictness, you are being lazy. What does that mean?" The moment Yang Chen finished, the entire crowd fell silent. After a moment, the Dongtu Doctor's face turned cold and he unleashed his terrifying power on Yang Chen. He said sternly, "Yang Chen, are you seeking death with such audacity?" Simultaneously activating the heavenly scripture, he was able to resist the pressure. His face flushed. Yang Chen said, "May I ask, Master, is the answer wrong?" The Dongtu Doctor was slightly displeased, but he quickly regained his composure. He said to the girl in red, "Xiao Qing, apologize." Pouting, Xiao Qing was upset, "Apologize. Who does he think he is? Why should I apologize to him?" The Dongtu Doctor's face darkened slightly. "Xiao Qing, you have to admit your mistakes. How did I teach you? We shouldn't act like this. You haven't seen the world. You have to change this arrogant attitude." It was Yang Chen's turn to feel embarrassed now. Immediately, Yang Chen turned to the Dongtu Doctor and bowed to Xiao Qing. "Please forgive my offense, Lord Doctor." After speaking, Yang Chen quickly turned and left. The atmosphere became tense, with everyone, including the Dongtu Doctor, feeling embarrassed. Xiaozhen's face, on the other hand, revealed a strange smile. "Ha ha." The head of the East Courtyard chuckled, trying to break the tension. While glancing at the Dongtu Doctor, he said, "It is our honor to have Doctor visit our humble academy. Allow me to take you to his courtyard. Let's go to the North Courtyard. It has been some time since Zhina and I have seen each other. We can have a little chat." The Dongtu Doctor agreed without hesitation, and, accompanied by Qiu Zhina, headed for the North Courtyard. As Yang Chen walked past the East Courtyard, his anger grew. He had finally realized that in the eyes of the so-called nobles, commoners were always inferior and expendable. There was no point in trying to reason with them, because you didn't have the right to reason with them. Perhaps, this was the kind of sorrow that Grandpa had mentioned. Arriving at the entrance to the East Courtyard and the new area, Yang Chen was stopped. Though he had a badge of the new area, it only granted access to the North Courtyard and the new area. Fortunately, before long, the heartless devil woman, Yushao, personally came to receive him and Yang Chen was finally allowed to pass. He entered the East Courtyard and the new area. Not eating. Seeing Yang Chen's displeased look, Xin he and the witch thought that Yang Chen was upset because he was stopped outside the core area earlier. "Yang Chen, I apologize. I was late. I hope you can forgive me." Yu Shaosheng bowed, acting all innocent, but her eyes flashed with a hint of cunning. It has to be said that Xin he and the witch were very charming. Even Yang Chen's heart skipped a beat, but it was just a fleeting flutter. Yang Chen, not wanting to waste time, asked directly, "Sister Yi, do you know where Lingxi is resting?" "Lingxi? Who is Lingxi?" Yu Shaosheng looked puzzled. She had never heard of anyone named Lingxi. Yang Chen was stunned for a moment. It seemed this beauty was a little difficult to deal with. Actually, before coming here, Yang Chen had inquired a bit. The woman before him was named Yu Shaosheng, the daughter of the head of the Yu family, a prominent clan in Tiannan City. She was known for her eccentric personality, mood swings, and being extremely difficult to deal with. "Young master, I have been waiting for you at Luyun Pavilion for a long time. I have been looking forward to your visit. Yu Shaosheng winked at Yang Chen, sending a flirtatious gaze his way. Yang Chen's heart sank. He had a bad feeling that if he was not careful, he might not leave the eastern courtyard. Looking at the witch's gaze, it seemed like she wanted to devour him whole. Unconsciously, Yang Chen recalled an idiom. Walking into a tiger's den. Sister Yi, I'm most afraid of women like you. Yang Chen immediately made an excuse. I remember I have an important matter to attend to. Let's meet another day. Saying so, Yang Chen turned around, quickening his pace, and headed straight for the exit of the core area of the eastern courtyard. A force of attraction suddenly pulled on Yang Chen's sleeve. Hey, Yu Shaosheng had grabbed Yang Chen's sleeve. She asked puzzledly, Yang Chen, what do you mean? Let go of my arm. No, Sister Yi, I really do have an urgent matter. Yang Chen was a little scared. This woman was too outrageous. He couldn't handle her. No matter how urgent the matter is, it shouldn't take a moment. Are you trying to reject my kindness? Or are you looking down on me? Yu Shaosheng looked wronged, but there was a hint of triumph in her eyes. She also had a hint of danger. It seemed that if Yang Chen refused, she would scream at the top of her lungs. Helplessly, Yang Chen could only give in. Following Yu Shaosheng, Yang Chen arrived at the famous Luyun Pavilion, the residence of Xanhe, the witch. Luyun Pavilion was decorated with great care by Yu Shaosheng. Yang Chen, seeing all the red and purple decorations, sighed inwardly. Leading Yang Chen into the tea room, Yu Shaosheng let go of Yang Chen's sleeve. She had the smug look of someone who had succeeded. She looked at Yang Chen and giggled. Yang Chen, once you enter my Luyun Pavilion, you are mine. You are the first man to enter Luyun Pavilion. From now on, you are the owner here. Yang Chen was dumbfounded. He had seen many beauties, gentle ones, aloof ones, enchanting ones, and also those that were very, but he had never seen someone so unreasonable before. It seemed that the other party was trying to dominate him. Feeling a bad premonition, Yang Chen said, Sister Yu, we've only met twice. This isn't very appropriate. Oh, brother. Yu Shaosheng giggled, like a blooming flower. Yang Chen, I heard you defeated a prodigy. Is that true? Is it true what they say? Once is new, twice is familiar. Getting close to Yang Chen, Yu Xiaosheng's voice was like orchids, and her eyes were filled with affection. Whispering, she said, Brother, if there's anything I'm not doing well enough, just tell me, and I will change. Why was it like this? Yang Chen had heard that this witch was the only good friend of Hu Lijing, and it was difficult to say whether she was testing him. Therefore, if he made a single mistake, and word got to Lingxi, something big would surely happen. Helpless, Yang Chen changed the topic. Let's have tea first. Seeing that Yang Chen didn't want to talk about it, Yu Shaosheng actually retreated and started preparing tea. What she was preparing was actually premium crimson tea, extremely valuable. In fact, Yu Shaosheng didn't pay much attention to Yang Chen. Even if Yang Chen was the new prodigy, she didn't care much. But just now, Yu Shaosheng displayed her 5 spirits and discovered that Yang Chen surprisingly had 2 5 spirits. Shocked, she changed her mind. She must get Yang Chen for herself. No one knew that Yu Shaosheng, as the daughter of the Yu family, did not inherit the Yu family's 5 spirits, but had awakened a very peculiar 5 spirits, the mind-seeing 5 spirits. Although the mind-seeing 5 spirits did not enhance combat prowess, it had an incredibly powerful and mysterious ability to perceive. The most incredible thing was that even when Yu Shaosheng displayed her mind-seeing 5 spirits, most people would not be able to detect it. It was a formless 5 spirit. What shocked Yu Shaosheng even more was that her mind-seeing 5 spirits could only detect that Yang Chen had 2 major 5 spirits within his dantian. As for what they were, she had no idea. It was important to note that in the past, even the 5 spirits of a royal family member would be completely exposed under her mind-seeing 5 spirits. There would be no secrets. And one's 5 spirits were considered to be at the top level. In the powerful Dongtu, they were the only 5 spirits to reach the top level. Yu Shaosheng was almost certain that the 2 5 spirits in Yang Chen's body must have surpassed the top level, otherwise, her mind-seeing 5 spirits would not have been unable to detect them. These were extremely powerful 5 spirits. Yu Shaosheng determined that Yang Chen was the most precious thing in her life. The heavens had sent him to her. After a brief silence and awkwardness, Yu Shaosheng poured tea for Yang Chen and, pretending to be casual, asked, Can you tell me about your past with Lingxi? Absolutely not. Yang Chen refused outright. He had already seen through this witch's schemes. She was playing for keeps. Darling. Xinhe, the witch, pouted her lips, looking particularly charming. Brother Chen, can you tell me about the interesting things that happened to you in Zhaoge City? Absolutely not. Yang Chen drank a mouthful of crimson tea, looking very relaxed. He wanted to see what the other party wanted. Yang Chen, are you even a man? Unable to hold back anymore, The witch questioned him, her chest heaving with anger. She didn't know the other person was so unwilling to cooperate. Yang Chen laughed. So, this is the real witch. The previous act was really not for me. I'm just a nobody. If I have offended you, please forgive me. As for whether I'm a man or not, you probably can't verify it. For Lingxi, I need to remain chaste. As he spoke, Yang Chen's face showed a naive smile, completely unfazed. Yu Xiaosheng's expression was a bit ugly, especially seeing Yang Chen holding the teacup and drinking like a commoner. She couldn't help but get even angrier. Go find your Lingxi. She is in the Jianzhu forest. Yu Xiaosheng was speechless. He had already gone this far and still remained unmoved. Was she really that much worse than Lingxi? Thank you, Sister Yu, for your hospitality. Immediately, Yang Chen left. He was afraid the witch would do something drastic. Jianzhu forest was very famous in the eastern courtyard and new area. Yang Chen asked 3 times and finally found it. As he approached Jianzhu, Yang Chen felt a familiar and inexplicable sense of intimacy. Yang Chen could also sense that the Jianzhu forest contained a deep meaning, but he was unable to understand it, because the meaning required cultivation to reach the 5 paths before it could be accessed. As soon as he stepped into the Jianzhu forest, Yang Chen surprisingly found that the agitation in his heart had unexpectedly calmed down. What an incredible place! Yang Chen's mood improved. He admired the surrounding bamboo buildings. He couldn't help but praise repeatedly. Suddenly, Yang Chen, who had been admiring the place, heard the sound of something cutting through the air not too far away. Following the sound, Yang Chen arrived at a clearing and saw the beauty he was yearning for. In the clearing, Lingxi was skillfully practicing sword techniques. Her fingers moved gracefully as she wielded a blue, icy-cold sword, cutting through the air. The surrounding space was filled with a sharp, icy aura. Lingxi's sword technique. Yang Chen was a little surprised. Hu Lijing was practicing the Lingxi sword technique, and Lingxi could unleash 30 sword strikes in one go, and it looked effortless. It was clear that Hu Lijing had cultivated the Lingxi sword technique to the greater mastery level. Wow! Yang Chen was stunned. He had trained in the training ground many times, after many battles, and only barely managed to reach the greater mastery level with the Lingxi sword technique. He was slightly inferior to the previous Lingxi. It was shocking how much Lingxi had improved in the Lingxi sword technique. Were you missing me? As Yang Chen was lost in thought, a melodious voice came from beside him. Yang Chen nodded involuntarily. Lingxi was also very happy and smiled sweetly, like 100 flowers in full bloom. However, she seemed to remember something and immediately straightened up. She said unkindly, I heard that someone has been gaining a lot of attention since entering the inner court, attracting many pretty girls. How did you remember me? Lingxi, you've wronged me. You know that my heart is only for you. It's so full, there's no room for anyone else. He was still joking. At this time, he had to show his loyalty. Lingxi nodded in satisfaction and smiled. I was almost about to ask, how did you find me? It was thanks to Sister Yu. Yang Chen blurted out without thinking. Sister Yu. Who's that? Yang Chen immediately felt something was wrong. He quickly explained, it's Yu Xiaosheng. I had to get her permission to enter. The central area and new district are really hard to understand. Qian Lingxi is very different. He knows Yu Xiaosheng's personality very well. How did he take a fancy to Yang Chen? It is very strange. Among so many outstanding talents in the entire eastern courtyard and the new district, he didn't look at any of them. Why would he take the initiative to approach Yang Chen? Something is fishy. However, Qian Lingxi didn't dwell on it. Instead, he smiled excitedly. Let's go, they'll take you to see Grandpa Wuya. Yang Chen had long heard that the old courtyard master, Gongsu Wuya, was the #1 expert in Haoqing Tianan. He is Qian Bugwang's esteemed master, and his own grandmaster. Yang Chen was, of course, curious about such a powerful figure. He immediately lowered his voice and asked, Lingxi, I heard that my grandmaster doesn't care about worldly affairs. What kind of person is he? Is he easy to get along with? It's hard to say. Qian Lingxi mischievously winked, making Yang Chen feel puzzled. Soon, Yang Chen followed Qian Lingxi to the depths of the building forest. Along the way, after inquiring, Yang Chen learned that the building forest was actually the place where his grandmaster used to cultivate, and it was also a restricted area in the eastern courtyard. Without permission, even the current master of the eastern courtyard would not dare to easily set foot in the building forest. This was a place with an extremely solemn atmosphere. Inside a slightly old pavilion, an old man with a full head of gray hair was working. The old man was focused on weaving a bamboo mat. Beside him lay many pieces of building materials. The old man was wearing a plain gray robe, and there was no trace of energy fluctuation on his body. He was slow and dull, just like an ordinary old peasant. But Yang Chen, who possessed the Taigu demonic dragon martial spirit, keenly sensed an extremely ancient and powerful aura on the old man. It felt as though he was a top-tier ancient existence. This is the #1 expert in Tianan, Gong Su Woya. Yang Chen found it hard to believe. The old man put down the half-finished bamboo mat, his cloudy eyes looking at Yang Chen, and he shook his head. Ha! Yang Chen was confused. What does this old man mean by shaking his head upon seeing him? Is he not satisfied with him? Grandpa Woya, this is Yang Chen, the one I told you about. Qian Lingxi was also a bit nervous, as if he was afraid that the old man wouldn't approve of Yang Chen. He spoke extremely gently, with a hint of anticipation. The old man's reaction was a bit slow. It took him a while to let out a muffled sound, but then he shook his head again. Although Yang Chen was full of confusion, he still stepped forward, respectfully cupping his fists and said, "Disciple grandson Yang Chen greets Grandmaster." Too polite. The old man said indifferently, "You don't have to see me. Qian Buguang is no longer my disciple." Helpless, Yang Chen could only force a smile and said, yes, he is very regretful about what happened back then. He has always been thinking about you, old sir. The old man chuckled self-deprecatingly, his nose pointing at Yang Chen. "Oomph, you little brat are full of lies. Qian Buguang is arrogant, he would never think of me. Since we've met, you can leave now. Don't come here again." The old man said, somewhat angrily, issuing a dismissal. What? Yang Chen was stunned. What did his chief master do to make this old man so resentful? But Yang Chen couldn't leave. He remembered that Qiu Jingza had told him that he needed to get the old man's approval. Otherwise, judging from the tone of the old man, his cooperation with Hu Nijing might be ruined. "Grandmaster, please don't be angry. Qian Buguang is a useless person, and from now on, I will serve you." As soon as Yang Chen said this, Qian Lingxi and Gong Su Woya were both stunned. Seeing the questioning look in Qian Lingxi's eyes, Yang Chen was also helpless. He had to use his chief master as a shield. Who told this old man to have so much resentment toward Qian Buguang? A golden light flashed in Gong Su Woya's cloudy eyes. He raised an eyebrow, a trace of interest in his eyes as he looked at Yang Chen. "Young man," he said, "years ago, I obtained a divination tool in Tianan called the Mirror of Fate. It can observe one's fate and predict danger." At this point, the old man paused, staring closely at Yang Chen. "Based on your face, you have hidden murderous intent and hidden danger. You're destined for a catastrophe. Your fate is on the verge of death. This old man doesn't have many years left. Are you trying to make me bear this disaster for you?" Qian Lingxi's face changed. He knew that Grandpa Woya never joked. Yang Chen was in trouble. Yang Chen was shocked. He didn't expect the seemingly ordinary old man to be so powerful, and to even possess such mysterious secret techniques. Yang Chen, of course, knew that the so-called bloody disaster was related to the Hu Nijing. It seemed he had to say goodbye to those romantic plans. After calming himself, Yang Chen asked with a serious expression, "Grandmaster, is there no way to resolve this?" Gong Su Woya shook his head. Yang Chen's expression remained resolute. "Grandmaster, although this disciple is weak, I will never surrender to fate. There is no such thing as an unsolvable situation. I will surely find a way out." Gong Su Woya nodded approvingly. "You're a little stronger than Qian Buguang after all." Qian Lingxi couldn't understand. He didn't know what kind of riddles Yang Chen and Gong Su Woya were talking about. Suddenly, a black wooden token abruptly appeared in front of Yang Chen, hovering in front of his eyes. Gong Su Woya didn't continue to talk to Yang Chen, and instead, he moved towards the bamboo forest, each step of his seemingly carrying great power. Holding the token, Yang Chen was overjoyed. This was the access token to the core area of the eastern courtyard. In other words, the old guy had already acknowledged him. It was just that the old man was acting strangely. Afterward, Qian Lingxi led Yang Chen to another bamboo building, his own residence.